Hey friends, it's Melissa Morrow with Vintage Bee Design, and I am traveling with my husband on a business trip. And I finally have some time in the hotel room to get some videos edited. So I hope you enjoy today's makeover DIY trash to treasure video. I'll catch you at the end. So I have this vintage lamp that I got from an estate sale. We boxed up the entire house and took it, and I've had it out for sale. I've put it on Etsy and eBay in my booth. It hasn't sold, so I decided it was time to do something different with it. What I'm actually going to do is disassemble the lighting housing and take all the wiring out and turn it into a candlestick. So I'm just simply using some pliers and cutting the wires. You'll need a screwdriver to pull out all the bits and pieces, and then I am going to completely disassemble the housing. Initially, as I was taking this apart, I didn't realize that the metal rod that runs through the middle was going to stick up so far into the candle cup. So I continued taking it apart and decided I was going to have to cut that rod down about 1.5 inches. Since my son does welding, this was easy for him to do. I probably could have done it using the Dremel with the right attachment, but since I happen to have him available, he was my help. Okay, we're gonna do some cutting of this rod because it's a little bit too long. So my son just stuck this on my back. Now I decided to use Starbond glue to put this all back together, and I really should have used E6000. It's fine now, and I think I actually did end up going back in some of the areas that felt a little loose, adding E6000. I just couldn't find my E6000 at the time, so I thought I would take a shortcut. One issue I have with Starbond or any of the super glue type glues is that, especially in glass and acrylic, they can make a hazy finish, and I do see that, but not really in a part that made a big difference. But that is one thing that I wish I had started out with. But basically I'm just gluing all of this back together. I'll also say it would have been easier if I'd reinstalled the rod before trying to put it all together and then feeding the rod through later. Hindsight is 2020, right? But you know, that's sort of how I'm addressing this. If you weren't comfortable cutting the rod, you could also use a wooden dowel. Here is the completed project. Let me know what you think. That little bit of yellow in the center is because that metal piece was somewhat rusted over time, and I might have been able to clean that off, but I didn't really worry about it too much. Let me know what you think. And do you prefer the greenery? Do you think it was good in there with the white greenery, or do you think I should have left it out? I kind of like the extra texture that it added. And here's a quick reminder that you can follow us on all social media at Vintage Bee Design, and we have a community in Facebook called Creating the Hive or Creative Con Vintage Bee, and I have just started a new coaching group. Membership is only $20 a month. Links are in the description below. Let's get back to crafting. I have a pair of these lamps, and really to turn these into candlesticks, the only thing I'm going to need to do is clip this cord and then unscrew this. Here is an example. Now I just need to cut a wood round and attach it to the top, and I will have a fresh new candlestick. And while this is a perfectly cute lamp and works just fine, the truth is we will get more money for it out of a candlestick, and it'll sell faster than if we keep it as a lamp because we don't have the shade any longer. Okay, so this lamp is a tall buffet lamp, and it is sort of similar to the other ones in that we no longer have a shade for it. And I think that it would make a cute candlestick. This is it after taking apart the top of it. Now I did choose to keep a couple extra pieces on this one. I'm keeping this part of the top of it because I know that we often lose these pieces, or if we pick up a donated lamp, they're missing. So I'm keeping this. I'm going to keep this part as well because this part is frequently broken off. And then I think other than that, it really just needs a little repair to close this hole and some kind of round on top. And I think it is going to be a cute candlestick. So I'm going to use some DIY paint in the color Faded Burlap. Now my paint had gotten all dried up in its can, so I added some water and reconstituted it. I think I added a little too much water, but you know, that's the great thing about DIY paint because it is clay based. I can actually water it down, I can let it thicken up, and I can actually even set some out and let it dry to a little bit thicker consistency and use it for a texture medium. I really like this color. I think it's going to be great, and I can wet distress a little bit back to the original color of this pineapple. So I have my candlesticks wet distressed, and I'm really liking how they look overall. I like that little bit of rustic. I'm not a fan of pristine, and I've kind of been debating about how to finish them, if I wanted to add a white wax or do something like that, and I don't know that I do. I think I really like the sort of simple, almost monochromatic, just brushed back. But the top I do need to do something with. So I have my little DIY brush, and it is damp, and I'm gonna mist the top with just a little bit of water, just so it doesn't have quite as much drag. And then I have some layered chocolate from DIY, and I'm just gonna offload some of that on here. And then I'm just gonna do some basic light streaking, and I just want this to have just a little bit of color, not a lot. I don't want it to have super obvious streaks. You can definitely see the difference where it is damp and where it is not. So get that a little bit better lubricated and pull all the way across. There we go. That's much better. So it's just going to give it a little bit of difference of color. I think that's where it's dragging. All right, and then I'll just sort of go around the outside and just to drop off a little bit of color on the sides. And I think that might be all I do to them other than sealing them, which I'll probably just use some liquid patina. To properly secure the top rounds, I did use a 1/4-inch dowel running through the candlestick and up into the round base, and then some wood glue. And this will ensure that those tops do not come off. I really like how these came out, and I think it's a great option for thrifted candlesticks. Let me know in the comments what you think. By the way, both the green candlesticks and the crystal vintage candlestick both sold right away. The pineapple ones, to my knowledge, are still available in our booth at Linen and Rust here in Orange Park. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was short but sweet. I think we have so many lamps that we need to give a little makeover for. I buy them at thrift stores or when we do estate sale cleanouts. It seems like we always have too many of them and never good shades. I will have a couple other upcycle videos coming soon. I have them already filmed. I've just been sitting here trying to get the edits done with so much going on. I haven't had a lot of editing time. So I do hope you enjoyed today's video, and we will catch you again soon. Bye guys.